cheerful as a funeral home, but it never required expending mental energy at 7 a.m. trying to coordinate funky colors or mix and match patterns. From her roadside perch, the burlesque model appeared amused, as if she knew Neve ate the same humdrum breakfast day in, day out, and dressed in the same humdrum wardrobe. Or that while she might have an impressive LinkedIn profile, that didn't translate to a social life worth posting over. Neve poked out her tongue at the model's image. This low-maintenance duckling had grown up to be, if not a preening swan, a confident duck. She had a good, scratch that, great career as a sports columnist for the Denver Age covering the hockey beat, and her life was too consumed by deadlines to bother with extra fuss. Work was the priority, and as for her biological clock, well, it could keep right on ticking. She had another baby to grow, her side hustle, a podcast, Sports Heaven, that kept climbing iTunes rankings. She had even been featured in their new and noteworthy section last month. Rut schmut. By any measure, Neve was doing great in her career and living her best life. Except her smirk faded as she glanced to the console clock. She'd risk missing the puck drop if traffic didn't improve soon. Hopefully the Hellions would get a much-needed win tonight. After their recent back-to-back championships, it appeared the team's days in the sun had fallen into one serious shadow. The roster had been shaken ever since the unexpected retirement of captain Jed West last summer. This season had started as a big disappointment for Denver fans, and worse, whispers of NHL labor disputes were gaining traction. For the past few weeks, trusted sources had even uttered the dreaded term lockout, a word that kept her up at night, restless and fretting. Fingers and toes crossed that the powers that be would navigate through the negotiations and get the league back on track. During the 04-05 lockout, the whole season was canceled, the worst possible outcome. Stadiums sat empty, fans grumbled, refs and arena workers forwent paychecks. She shuddered, mentally elbowing away the terrible idea. Hopefully this time around, cooler heads would prevail. And as for the Hellions, there was another place where cooler heads needed to prevail. Maybe if their goalie would practice a little Zen meditation and quit getting players sent to the penalty box every damn Meep! Meep! Madame Prius hit the horn as if she'd face-planted on the steering wheel and died. Tension migrated from Neve's neck, making the slow climb to her temples. The first throbs of a headache emerged. Between lockout worries and this racket, she might spontaneously combust. To release steam, she rolled down the window and flipped the Prius the bird before grabbing her phone off the passenger seat. Ignoring the new, and so far unlistened to, mindfulness podcast her friend Margot had recommended, she clicked on Byways, the popular navigation app that relied on community-sourced traffic updates to create the fastest routes. It needed to get her moving before she found herself arrested for disorderly conduct. She plugged in the Hellions Stadium address, and an avatar of a pitchfork blinked from a quarter-mile ahead. Her tummy performed a flawless triple-axel jump. Rove Hall 30. She took a deep breath and issued herself a stern reminder. There had never been any official confirmation that Rove Hall 30 was even male, but in her mind, he was 6 feet of strapping sexiness, lounging behind the wheel of a black Subaru Outback, a ginger-haired Ewan McGregor doppelganger. Not train-spotting Ewan either. Not even Moulin Rouge Ewan. No, straight-up Obi-Wan Kenobi Attack of the Clones Ewan, with the shaggy hair and delicious beard. One thing was for certain. The pitchfork avatar meant that Rove Hall 30 was a Hellions hockey fan, or a devil worshipper who lives in his mom's basement hand-feeding his pet bull pythons. The pitchfork didn't budge. Rove Hall 30 was stuck in this traffic, too. She sucked in her lower lip, debating. To message or not to message? That was the question. No point glancing to burlesque Blondie for advice. The model would just shimmy her tassels in a "you go, girl" affirmation. Eeny, meeny, miny. Ugh. Fine, she was doing this. Never late. Fancy seeing you here. She hit send before she could second-guess her actions. Here was hoping that her tone came across more cheerful than creepy. Rove Hall 30. Typing. It always took Rove Hall 30 time to type back. Credible evidence that he was a 60-plus grandmother learning to operate her first smartphone. But why ruin the fantasy? Neve drummed her thumbs on the steering wheel. She didn't bother with online dating. The idea of some random dude swiping left on her profile.